I may be the first voidist, but I will not be the last. We humans, we often tell ourselves that things are not the way they are because of us. Most individuals say, I am not responsible for the pain and suffering that's going on the other side of the world. That's going on in my backyard, that's going on across the street, that's going on in a state over, a country over. That I am not responsible for it. And nothing changes. Nothing becomes different because nobody is willing to take responsibility and take it upon themselves a duty of compassion to care for their fellow human beings, not because they have to, not because they feel they would be guilty if they do not, but because it is the right thing to do. And because if we have the ability, we must be the best kind of person we can be, not for ourselves, not so we can pat ourselves on the back, not because it feels good, but because we're human beings. And the survivability of our species, our children, or our children's children depend on us, all of us, drawing your circle of compassion around the world, the entire world. We must encompass the world with our circle. Now, what do I mean by circle? I mean that usually a good man will draw a circle of compassion and care around himself and his family. But it is said that a great man will draw a circle much wider. There are an awful lot of human beings on this planet. Some would say we have to care only for ourselves and our family and our town or city or state or country, because there's only so much to go around, and we have to try and get as much for ourselves as we can, because if we don't, other people are doing the exact same thing, and they'll take theirs while we get nothing. Should we show the amount of compassion necessary to be completely free of the guilt that every nation feels a little bit? Every nation is a little bit xenophobic. Every nation always has the majority thinking only for that nation. Now, deep down as human beings, we know this isn't correct, but we feel like it's the status quo. We feel like it's the compromise that we have to make in order to live as a functional human being on this planet, because that's just the way things are. If this is the case, it's no wonder that depression is truly the status quo, because we've rejected our humanity. We've decided that our identification based on place, religion, spirituality, lack thereof, or political ideology is how we fight for what we need to get from the world, our fair share, but we always want the lion's share. Because if we don't get our fair share or a bigger share for rainy days, mixing analogies here, then other people will get it from us. It's like we have the Hunger Game DNA still to contend with within our human DNA. As if there are a whole bunch of resources right at the center of this arena that we call Earth. And then everybody's just diving for the center, trying to get what they want so that they can get a leg up on the other contenders and maybe even destroy them. Because that's the game, isn't it? When it comes to tribal warfare, you have to kill the other tribe. So then you have more space to expand, you have more authority, you have more dominion, and you can provide for yourself and others in a way that you never could before when you were under threat from other tribes. But this is not embracing humanity. This is embracing our animalistic side. It's like we evolved for nothing if we take that up as our ideology, as our way of thinking. And most of us don't even realize that we're thinking that way. We must analyze. Why have I chosen this political party? Why am I favoring these political candidates over the others? Why do I favor the national policy that I favor compared to other national policies? So on and so forth. Why do I follow this religion or spiritual tradition, and not others? Why do I look down on others for their different ideas, for their different traditions? Then we start to get to the nitty-gritty. The fear that all humans feel. The fear that we're wrong. The fear that we're wrong directly correlates with the desire to gain for one's tribe alone. That fear correlates with our animal instincts. The fear of being wrong is the fear of looking at something looking into the darkness and seeing the wrong shapes, which could be deadly if we're talking about caveman era, prehistory, basically. So in a way, it's just transferred. Now we fear looking at ideology that will harm or set back our tribe and being wrong about that. So much so, and this is subconscious, that we fight against other ideas. We say, no, you're wrong. That's not going to preserve our tribe. That's not going to, a lot of the time people say, help humanity. Because surely our political identity or our religion is the only way to go. It's the only way we make a peaceful and safe world for everyone and everyone prospers. But let me tell you something. There's another step directly after that. No matter how much you hone the world to your own ideas, whether they be political, religious, or any other, there will always be differences on more minute discrepancies between ideas. Look at the Protestant movement since it was founded, and I'm Hindu, so you can look at Hinduism as well, but many people know about the Protestant movement and the different separations that it made. There's many different separations in Hinduism, but we don't demand that you be Hindu only by following this or that law. But anyway, we see the Episcopalian Church, we see the Baptist Church, we see the Methodist Church, we see the Lutheran Church. We see all these different churches who all follow the Bible but have different interpretations, just slightly though. And they act like it's these ideas are just so different in the Bible, and that their interpretations are just so different that they can't unify. Now, that might be an exaggeration, but if we look at different nations around the world when it comes to third world countries, Shiite and Sunni Muslims, just regarding who can be imams, they have been killing each other for hundreds of years. Same religion, but killing each other for hundreds of years, and Christianity did the same thing. Many Christians are still doing it in other parts of the world, not in first world countries. But here's what it gets down to. Even the slightest discrepancies will allow that fear to prevail. The only way for that fear to disappear is to conquer it and accept other people for who they are, as long as they're not hurting you, and trying to help other human beings as long as they're not hurting you and they just want to live their lives. Or we try to make everybody believe the exact same idea, which will never work because we are human beings. We need to find the balance between compromise, well, this isn't even a balance, compromise and conquering that fear. These two things exist as one. Conquering that fear of the other, that fear that we're wrong, that fear that any other idea will destroy us, and finding compromise between other groups of people who have been trying to do the same thing, but just haven't found the voice. So we must make that table and bring everyone to it. This is the way of the voidist. This is the way of somebody who desires free knowledge, desires freedom of affiliation, regardless of politics or religion or nationality or culture or ethnicity. This is the way of one who wants to protect those, like a voidist, protect those who just want to live their lives, those innocents who just want a fair shake, and trying to combat those who will harm those just trying to get a fair shake. And this doesn't always mean with weapons, surely. But as a human race, we will only survive together. We cannot survive apart. We must at the very least work together. So, this has been a video about drawing your circle of compassion around the world, the entire world. Can you do it? Can you conquer that fear? Can you come to the table of compromise? Thank you very much for watching, and all of you, let us make this table. It needs to be a movement, a voidist movement, that is comprised of individuals that considers every brother their brother, every sister their sister, every mother their mother, every father their father, every child their child. Because like it says in the Mahabharata, when we prefer our children to the children of others, war is near. And as long as we as human beings practice our humanity this way, or lack thereof, then war will always be near. It will always be right around the corner.